In this module, we'll be talking about task R5, Authorization Reporting. In this task, we report the authorization decision and any deficiencies in controls that represent significant security or privacy risks. Input to this task is the authorization decision. Expected outputs from this task are a report indicating the authorization decision for a system or set of common controls, as well as annotation of authorization status in the organizational system registry. Primary responsibility for this task is the authorizing official or the authorizing official's designated representative, and they are supported by the system owner or common control provider, information owner or steward, system security officer, system privacy officer, senior agency information security officer, senior agency official for privacy. It does align to the SDLC. For a new system, it aligns with implementation and assessment. For an existing system, it aligns with operations and maintenance. It does not align to the cybersecurity framework. So let's dive into this thing. The authorizing officials report authorization decisions for systems and common controls to designated organizational officials so the individual risk decisions can be viewed in the context of organization-wide security and privacy risks to organizational operations and assets, individuals, other organizations, and the nation. So once the authorizing official makes their decision on whether to authorize the system or deny authorization, that information is sent to organizational officials. It's dependent on your organization who those officials are, but they should be the people that are keeping track of the risk for the entire organization, as well as people that are monitoring and keeping track of the organizational enterprise networks and systems, at a minimum, I would think. Reporting occurs only in situations where organizations have delegated the authorization functions to levels of the organization below the head of the agency. So the authorizing official can be the head of the agency, or that position can be delegated to a person below the head of the agency. We're not saying the authorization task can be delegated. We're saying that position can be delegated. So the authorizing official could be the head of the agency, or in cases where the authorizing official is lower than the head of the agency, then this organizational reporting should be occurring. Authorizing officials also report exploitable deficiencies, including things like vulnerabilities, in the system or controls noted during the assessment and continuous monitoring that represent significant security or privacy risks. Organizations determine, and the organizational policy reflects, what constitutes a significant security or privacy risk for reporting. So if there's something that is wrong with the system that is serious, that there's serious vulnerabilities and problems with the system or common control set, that needs to be reported to these organizational officials. Deficiencies that represent significant vulnerabilities and risks can be reporting using the subcategories, categories, and functions in the NIST cybersecurity framework. And authorization decisions may be tracked and reflected as part of the organization-wide registration process at the organization's discretion. And that's way back in Task Prepare 18 when we registered the system. We can go back and update that system with our authorization information at this time if your organization is going that way. Again, these significant vulnerabilities we talked about in the last slide, we can track those to subcategories, categories, and functions in the cybersecurity framework if that's the way the organization wants to use it. References for this task include NIST Special Publication 839 and Special Publication 800-160 Volume 1, as well as the NIST Cybersecurity Framework. In this module, we discussed Task R5, its inputs and outputs, roles and responsibilities, SDLC and Cybersecurity Framework lifecycle alignment, authorization decisions, reporting, deficiencies and risks, and finally references. If any of this doesn't look familiar to you, I'd say go back and watch those portions of this video. If it all makes sense, on to the next video. If you're taking the course, on to the course material to dive further into this task.